It's like 5 degrees today. We since we talked last, we will have played 2 games. We played last Tuesday out at Park Hill. Tough loss against Park Hill, really good Park Hill team. Ended up losing by 5 or 6, and then started the first game of pool play at the Liberty tournament last night. Played a double overtime game and ended up losing by 6, 71-65 to Summit Christian Academy, who's 12-1 on the year and ranked in the state in Class 3. So we've played a couple games. We've lost our last 2, but we've played in games that hopefully make us better, that show us kind of the level of play that we need to play at consistently. And that's something that this team's got to grow in the most. We've got to grow in how consistent we are and how we execute what we're trying to do. And once we do that, we've got enough talent. We got the right kind of makeup of guys to be a pretty good club. It's just we got to find that consistency. It has nothing to do with effort. Our guys are playing so hard. They care. They care about each other. They care about playing the game the way that they're supposed to play it. It just comes down to being more consistent, and that comes with experience. We lost 9 seniors, and our expectations of them don't change. We still expect them to perform at a really high level, and they will. We have in stretches this year. We just want to do it more consistently. So finished the tournament, finished the pool play on Thursday. We played Raytown High School at 5:30. Raytown's 9-4 on the year. Has a really good player, a couple really good players that'll pose some problems for us. So we'll make sure that we have our guys prepared and ready for that. And then depending upon kind of the results of that game and the results of others throughout the week will depend on what time we play on Fridays. So, hey, our guys are trying. They're working hard. This is, you're guaranteed in Missouri high school basketball, you're guaranteed 26 games. And this was game 13 that we just played. So we're halfway through. That's what's exciting about it is we're halfway through because there's a lot of room for us to grow. And as we develop, as we get better, it's going to be really exciting. I'm not glad we're not playing our best, but I'm glad that there's a lot of room for improvement still with this team with this much time that we have left. So we're excited to keep getting better and, take the challenges as they present themselves, and it's Thursday against Raytown's the next one. So with that, open it up to you guys.
You're talking about how losing Ian early in the last game affected your team.
Yeah, when Ian went out, 50 seconds in, it just kind of changes. It changes everything that we do because we've had, we've played pretty consistently 8, sometimes 9 guys, and so substitution patterns different. Defensive matchups are different. Offensive, where players are on the floor offensively are different. There's a lot of things that are different without him on the floor, and more minutes are available for guys who maybe haven't played that many minutes. Not to say that that's necessarily a bad thing, but it's different playing 14 minutes than it is playing 32, and that is something that you. As a coach, as a staff, you try to just get your guys prepared for every situation. So, listen, the last thing in the world I want is for one of our players to be hurt. But the fact that he is gives another guy an opportunity to step up, and he's got to play well in that opportunity. And then as far as Ian goes, I got to talk to our trainers today and find out what the extent of the injury is. I don't know. I know he's in a lot of pain and not feeling good, but I'll talk to them and see. But it didn't look good. Yeah. No, I mean Stephen, it's a question that I understand, and there were certainly a lot of whistles. There were a lot of whistles at maybe some unfortunate times for us. But we've got to be careful and make sure that when you sit in my seat, when you sit in the head coach seat, you're responsible for everything. You're responsible for your team. You're responsible for how you defend the opponent. You're responsible for your own players, and you're responsible for interacting with the officials. And last night, yeah, there was a lot of whistles, but I didn't know if we did enough to kind of create our own breaks in certain situations for me to get too upset at the officials. Those guys that worked last night, they're good officials. They work hard. They're human just like us. I don't know if I made the right substitutions every time. I don't know if I made the right play calls every time. I don't know. So, there probably were some errors, but that's part of it. But one of the things that, this team's got to grow in is that consistency. So sometimes we had a call that maybe negatively affected us for a couple possessions, and we got to get over that. We got to make sure that we're more consistent in how we approach the game. And, hey, if anybody's familiar with, officiating, it's us. So we can do it. Our city, our guys work, the officials in our city work really hard. I've got, I'll never complain about officiating as long as the guys are really, really hustling and really trying to, make the right calls. And last night, I thought they were just, 40-something fouls is, for a fan, it's probably harder to watch than it is for a coach who's worried about, his team. Yeah. So we were on a goofy schedule. We, this is the third game that we've played in essence 3 weeks, and so we've had a lot of practice time. And I know how word travels. We'd had some opportunities for growth at practice. We've been on them pretty good, and physically they'd expended a lot of energy. So when we played Park Hill on Tuesday, we brought them in on Wednesday, had a short practice, and I gave them Thursday off because I just thought physically they'd expended almost as much energy as they've got. I didn't know if they could do much more. So changing our routine a little bit too. Usually we take off Sunday, but with the fact that we played on Monday this week, I wanted to practice on Sunday, so I still wanted to find a day off for them, and I didn't want to use the day off as Saturday. So giving them Thursday off kind of allowed them to just, be a high school kid not involved in a sport. School was over, then go home, or then hang out with their friends, or change it up a little bit for them. I think probably most of them went home and slept, but it was just a little change in our routine, and part of it had to do with the fact that we played on Monday as well.
How does going into double overtime start to affect your boys?
Yeah, I think it's the first double overtime game I've coached in. We've played in here. We've played in 6, 7 overtime games, but that's the first double overtime game. In essence, overtime's 4 minutes. You play in 2 of them. It's like extending the game and playing another quarter. So, there's a lot that it affects. It affects fatigue. Guys are tired. Stephen asked earlier about fouls. Foul trouble mounts because, you're trying to manage the game as a coach to make sure that you put your guys in the best spot, but you're hopeful for a 32-minute game, not a, what it ended up being, or, a 40-minute game or whatever it was. So, I don't know. It affects a lot of things, but I think what was interesting about it is through regulation, it was kind of played at the pace and what we needed it to be played at. And then in overtime, they didn't run out of gas. They didn't run out of energy. They were pretty well-conditioned team, and our foul situation, our injury situation, and everything certainly mounted on us. But it's part of it. What do you do? You can't do much about it.
How do you feel the team responded to Summit's constant pressing?
Well, I thought we were really pretty good against the full court pressure. I think what we struggled against even was their inside pressure in the half court. So they went back and they dropped back into this 2-3 zone, and there was stretches on our tape that were live, and then when I was watching our tape last night into this morning, they weren't guarding us from 15 feet from the basket. They just had 5 guys around, and so it's a different kind of pressure. Just because the pressure isn't necessarily in your face does it mean that it's pressure. The pressure was, in bodies around our post players. And I think that our guards kind of struggled with it because, it's weird. when you play, you expect somebody to be out there guarding you. And there were stretches where the guy with the ball wasn't guarded last night. And so that took some adjusting to us. But the fact that the game went overtime, double overtime, fatigue, their constant, awareness of where we were on the floor and how they were sticking to us and pressuring us. I mean, we turned the ball over 19 times. It's 19 possessions we just give away. And, I don't expect us to have 0 turnovers, but 19 is way too high. And in a game that every possession obviously is so important because you go double overtime. You got to take care of the ball. So something we got to grow in. Can't have 19 of them. With that, I'll wrap it up. Thursday at Liberty High versus Raytown. Friday will be the finals. What time to be determined. So hope to see you guys out there on Thursday against Raytown. Good team right down the road. Watch us play. After this week, conference starts, and that's obviously a big test for our guys. Our conference is terrific this year. And we're going to see some really high-quality teams. For our guys, the best part about it is it's 5 home games. 5 games here in front of our home crowd, which is something our guys really look forward to. So we appreciate everybody's support, and hopefully see you guys Thursday and Friday this week. Thanks.